How about like that? How about like that? That's looking good. It's looking good. So I'm testing out a new mic. Oh, hold on. I gotta close my door. Hold on. No, Penny. You stay there. You stay there, Penny. A house guest. My sister-in-law's dog. She's in love with me. So, yeah, I'm testing out a new mic. So, let me know if there's any problems. I don't mean I'm testing it out like this is the first time I've ever used it. I've been using it for several videos already, and it works fine. I just get a little paranoid that if I don't do a mic check first, it might not be working. And when I'm doing it live, I can't do a mic check first, now can I? All right, so it has been, let me tell you, one busy hell of a month, especially the last week or so. Let's get into the community site here and go to view all comments. Now I've been getting better. No, really, I have. I've been getting better with answering the comments. So I'm gonna have to go to from comments I haven't responded to all comments. Just to see, I'm telling you, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. So let me get a drink and get started because I can already feel and hear my voice getting a little dry and rough. What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings? Oh, that's the old intro. Did you know that? That's the old one. I'm still trying to work past it. I've been doing that for years now. And now I'm trying to update it a little to What's up, Pixie Posse and wee little pixels all. Thank you for joining me here, Two Gun Pixie, your gateway to legendary gaming. See, that's a little bit better, right? That sounds a little better, flows a little better. And then I get right into, well, you know, this video that I'm shooting today is going to fit nicely into the playlist for Midday Monologue Monday. So if you're interested in hearing things that I talk about, things that are on my mind that have to do with Dungeons and Dragons or board gaming, that's the playlist you need to go check out. I never used to think about, like advertising my playlists, but I guess it's a good idea to do because I've been getting a few extra hits on some of the older stuff. I think it may be because of this. So bear with me. I'm pretty good at the new intro, but every now and then I may slip back into the old one like I did here. All right, so from Daniel Ramsey 6141. Thank you very much. I don't recall that name, recall that handle here before. If I'm wrong, sorry, I forgot. But if I'm correct, then welcome. Welcome to the Pixie Posse. I mean, everyone's a member of the Pixie Posse. But if you want to be an official member of the Pixie Posse, you got to hit that subscribe, right? And then tickle that notify bell so it tells you. We usually drop videos every day. Some usually more nowadays, since I'm doing a daily vlog, we're dropping at least a minimum of 2 videos every day. But the main video, besides the vlog, which is 6 a.m., the main video, Eastern Standard Time, the main video drops at noon Eastern Standard Time. So Daniel Ramsey 6141 for What's in the Pixies Box by Tenfold Dungeon. This was specifically the episode with the Tenfold Dungeon for the Temple. That's a nice sort of Egyptian or desert kind of look and feel, the theme, so the art for it. So Daniel Ramsey 6141 says, Ben bought me one of these, the Temple Box, and I actually like these, that they include an adventure in them. I also see that there are other boxes, Dwarven Mines, Wizard Library, and the Underdark. I won't lie, I love the details and the designs for these, for each and every one of them, and with the right tools, they can look amazing. The only flaw or downside is that you need a couple of things to make all this work. 1, a big table. 2, a dungeon master. And 3, space on your shelf. Well, I just barely make 3. Let me tell you that, Daniel. I just barely made room on my shelf for that. Actually, not quite. Temple is kind of in front of the shelf. I think safely protected by a table in front of it so it won't get damaged. But yeah, that can be a bit of a problem. But still, these boxes that contain the Tenfold Dungeons are more fitting, or should I say easier to fit, than, let's say, Warlock tiles or Dwarven Forge stuff, because everything fits inside the box, inside a box, inside a box, inside a box, just like Russian nesting dolls. To a DM. Oh, thank God I got that one covered, right? I am the DM here in New York City, at least here in Inwood, at least here in the game room. And a big table. Well, I have a table. The table I use. I got someone watching. Please, if let me know. Could you let's set up a message and let me know how the sound is. Maybe there's been a message already. Let me see. 5 messages. Nothing yet. All right, so I'm assuming the sound is okay. If someone's watching and they gave a thumbs up, they can hear me with the new mic. I hope the new mic's coming out good for you guys. So a big table, you were saying. A big table is needed. Yes, I have what I call a standard 6-foot folding table. I don't know if that really is what it is. I got it at Target. You know, it's just about 3 feet wide. I think it's just short of that, just a little shy of that. 6 feet long. So that's the table I use. Now, with the tenfold dungeon stuff, depending on how big of a build I need to make, one box can fill that whole table. I mean, that's amazing, you know, especially for the price. But I often use a half-wide table, still 6 feet long, but it's just barely, not quite half, just barely half as wide. And the reason I do that is because I use a table topper. So on top of my gaming table, I have a table topper, a table riser. I don't know what you want to call it, which leaves space underneath on the main table for character sheets, snacks, and drinks, while giving it an upper space to be gamed on. So that works out good. That gives me some space to work with and space for everyone to have their stuff down on. But it still doesn't change what you said. You are going to need some amount of table space if you want to make a good enough display. Daniel Ramsey, 6141, also went on to say, for as good quality that it is, the fantasy boxes might not get as much use compared to the sci-fi boxes, since stuff like 40K, Starfinder, Star Wars, and Cyberpunk have lots of players. And that is true. And in the message I wrote back to Daniel Ramsey, I did point out that the sci-fi stuff I have, I also have the town stuff. The only fantasy stuff I have is the town box right now and the temple. But I do have the 4 main core, the first 4 of the sci-fi that came out. And that's exactly why I used them. For Star Wars, I was getting ready to do a short 4 or 5 part Star Wars run in between our D&D, and I realized I didn't have any of the stuff good enough for terrain, you know, sci-fi stuff. And that's the first reason I got the tenfold dungeon stuff. I got the town because I thought it was a low-tech town that they were starting at. And then they were moving on to a space station. So I got the Starship Vengeance to work as a space station. I got the Deadless something or other. I got the 4 original core sci-fi ones. They were great. My God, they look great for Star Wars too. Yeah, really do. And you continue to say, you end off by saying, but yeah, these boxes I consider major set piece locations. And they're kind of useful for one-shot. Yes, I read that right. And they are kind of useful for one-shot runs. And like I just said, that was a 4 or 5 when I was doing for Star Wars, but I definitely see what you mean, Daniel, about a one-off run. This would be perfect. Very fast and easy to set up. Unless you're putting terrain pieces inside, like you're using 3D tables, street lamps, carts, cars, or whatever, it's going to be a super fast setup. Take them out of the box, just putting them in the order you want them in. If some have to connect, you do that with doorways. The doorways are the connectors for the set, so you never see clips anywhere. Really nice. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the video. I'm so happy that you made time to make a comment, and I hope you continue having fun with your games and your terrain sets. Friday Night Fillers, Bag of Dungeons solo fighter that I did. I always do something wrong. Listen, Bag of Dungeon is a hell of a lot of fun, that game. If you're looking for, and I honestly believe this, I'm not being paid. They don't sponsor me or anything. Nobody does. If you're looking for a quick, fast little dungeon dive fix, and I don't mean necessarily as a filler game, although it does fill in as a filler game. Yeah, Bag of Dungeon or Bag of Dungeon 2, The Forest, they're both very good. Both very good games. If I didn't have so many other games in my collection, I would be playing them more. So, yes, Russ explains. I made a comment. Hi, I'm Russ from Gunpowder Studios. That's the company that makes the game. They have commented to me before. They're very cool. I like the fact that they do that. They're very nice with their fans and their people that buy their stuff. Very cool. Hi, I'm Russ from Gunpowder Studios, and it really makes our day when we see players enjoying our game. The comments about the green purple monsters are for the Bag of Dungeon 2, The Cursed Forest. When you were playing it, you should have been fighting the easier green monsters. Purple monsters only come out to play. You combine the two games together, and your character has completed the dungeon, got in the ring, became stronger. Otherwise, it's like you're playing the game on a super hard, insane mode. See, now, I had an earlier comment from like 2 years ago that I remembered I had gotten a comment about I was playing it wrong with the drawer out of the bag for red and purple monsters. So, I wanted to make sure going into the game the other night, this is from last Friday night, going into that game, I didn't want to make that mistake again. Yeah. But then I couldn't find any purple monsters, just the red ones. So I had no idea what the hell they were talking about. So, Russ, thank you so much for explaining that to me. I like to believe that I'm smart enough that I would have figured out that when I pulled out, Forest for the next gameplay, seeing the purple and the red there together in that bag. But not having done that right now, yes, thank you very much for explaining that to me. I do understand now. Very cool. I have been enjoying the game. And hey, do you want to, Russ, if you're watching this, you want to leave a hint to me and my measly 1.6K subscribers about what Bag of Dungeon 3 is going to be? The first one was a dungeon, the second was a forest. What are you doing with the third? Shh, we won't tell anyone. But yeah, no, they are working. I heard a few months back that they told me that they were working on last time. It was the last time I did a playthrough of this. No. Maybe it was one of my tabletop takeout episodes. But the last time I was talking about their game on this channel, they did tell me that they were working on a third. So I really want to know what that's about. Tabletop Takeout, Dungeons & Dragons Cooperative Adventure System. Mark's Dice Tales. Ooh, I like that. I got to go check out your channel. I like that title. I like that. Mark's Dice Tales. All right, missed the last two, gutted. Enjoyed my time with them, but also missed skill checks for non-combat things. All right. As I said in the reply to this, I completely understand what you mean. I hadn't really thought about it maybe necessarily at first, but yeah, being able to do skill checks would give it more of a second edition, third edition, advance, continue on for a fifth feel to it, because they have skill checks. And since this game system is, started with out to be like a version of 3.5 and then 4 and now 5, you would expect that they should or could keep that feel to it. So yeah, I think you're right about that. It would have been very interesting to have gotten the ability to do certain skills in the game. It would have made the game bigger and different. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just pointing that out. As I said in that video, I really am. I am upset that this line is ended for that simple fact alone, but also because we never got a chance to see an illusionist or a monk or a Psy. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen one whole box dedicated to like Psy characters, Psionic Warrior, a Psionicist, or maybe a couple of different ones. Like maybe a telepath and a manifester, a soul blade. Yeah, that would have been awesome. I love Psy characters. All right, now moving on. The 2 Gun Vlog. This is the first, and I think so far only, comment that I have gotten concerning 2 Gun Pixie's attempt or quest to get into the Guinness Book of World Records. And 2 Gun Vlog, Stephen Gilbert, 8166, old friend of the channel. Thank you for coming back and leaving a comment. I hope all is good with you and yours, my friend. Says, I run with a full cup. Really? I run with a full, hold on. I have been DMing. I have 56 freaking years old. This August will mark my 49th year playing D&D. I've been playing since I was 7, been DMing since I was 9. Outside of a convention hall or Gygax's own table, or Arnson, I'm sure too, I have never heard of this. So Stephen Gilbert said, I run with a full complement of 27 players who join the game here and there when they can. Thankfully, they don't all play at once, right? Or it would be an impossible nightmare. Even though I have a backup DM to help me out sometimes. The usual crowd is just 6 or 7, sometimes 4. It is a small game. Half of them have stayed at the game for 19 years or so, but of course, some just play casually every few months. Usually the game runs once every 2 weeks. I like to know the players will stick around, so I have a waiting list of potentials who want to join. I know this sounds a bit controlling, but it's the best way I know to keep the show running smoothly. So that is impressive. Wow, that is impressive. As of right now, I have 2 what I call dedicated players. That's Ron and Sean. I really wish I just had 1 more. I wish I had 2, 3, but bare minimalist. I wish I just had 1 more dedicated player, someone that knows how to say, sorry, I have plans that weekend, instead of telling us, sorry, something better came up. That would be nice. That would be nice. And I got 2, so I'm blessed. As a DM, I'm blessed with that. But, you know, Stephen, being DMs, we have a little bit of an advantage in table games and stuff, because there's always more players looking for DMs than DMs looking for players. We're always going to have that advantage at the very least. But I know what you mean, having a game run for so long with regular players. One of the biggest things that I consider about the game is the number of players, who want to have full in-depth characters. Now, I'm not just talking about starting off with the 5-page dossier on their whole character's history and their parents' history and all that shit. Pardon me. No, I'm talking about players that want character growth. That want to have things that their characters have to get past, things that their characters have to build towards, goals that they have, as well as a past. Sure, there's going to be NPCs in their past, family, friends, things like that. Old acquaintances from their job or the time that they were on the night watch or whatever, something like that. I'm all for that. I want that. As a DM, I want to be able to tell a story, let you tell a story, let them combine. This is a form of world building, even when you're playing in an already set up world like I do in Greyhawk. It's beautiful, man. I love it. But the problem is, the players who want this are the same ones that seem to, in my experience, only want to show up when they have nothing better to do, or just show up on the last minute, treating their DM more like an MMO that they can turn on and off whenever they want to play the game. So I'm really in awe that you are blessed to have between 5 and 6 regular dedicated players. That's amazing. Me, I'm just looking for at least one more player that knows how to say, what's the schedule, so I can mark the days off. But yeah, so yeah, D&D day and goals for my 2-gun vlog. My 2-gun vlog is about our run to attain our quest to get a Guinness World Record. The reason for this Guinness World Record, I got to find the right way to phrase this. I got to find the right wordology or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll run it through a few different AIs and ask them for like 10 suggestions each, and then go through all the suggestions to see what sounds strong. But to, for the record, it has to be quantifiable. It has to be understandable. It has to be beatable. So my thing for getting 2-Gun Pixie YouTube channel into the Guinness Book of World Records is my advanced library. I'm not sure what to call it. My advanced library. I have pre-recorded, pre-edited, pre-produced, pre-uploaded, and now dated, waiting for their assigned release date, an entire year's worth of my 5-day schedule, because I generally go live twice a week. So yeah, with my and right now I'm doing 2 videos a day because of the daily vlog. I can't get a year ahead in the daily vlog. I mean, that doesn't make sense. So yeah, my regular videos for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. This week, I will finish being a year ahead of schedule on all of them. That's unheard of. As far as I'm concerned, that's unprecedented. I looked up and I could not find any listing in Guinness Book of World Records for this particular title. So I'm going to be what they call establishing a title. So wish us luck, everyone. Please follow the channel on that. Support us. Tell everyone what we're doing. Share our quest. But yeah, and thank you very much for leaving a comment, on that video. That's the first time. It's the first time somebody has made a comment on our Two Gun vlog. So thank you, Stephen Gilbert. Moving on to Tales on the Table. Now this is the video where it's a 2-part video. It airs twice a month. The first part is my behind the screens DM episode, where I tell you how I'm setting up the adventure and I show you my terrain pieces that I am using, how I'm setting them up to make a table build. And then the following week is what I call Player's Perspective, where the players sit down and they tell you from their characters' perspectives what happened in the game the previous week. Pardon me, I was drinking too much. Sorry. So, where was I? Oh, here it is. I lost the page. So for Tales on the Table, Speaker in the Dreams, Part 8, The Prodigal Orc returns. Polar Bear 6579 said, found you on Facebook, followed you here, wishing you well on your YouTube channel. Thank you very much. I did answer this. As I said, I've been doing a lot better with answering comments. I'm niching out time for you all, making time to watch the videos. You make time to comment. It's only respectful that I also make time to answer you back, and thank you for it. So, but yes, found you on Facebook, followed you here, wishing you well on your YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Polar Bear 6579. I hope we continue to impress you, to entertain you, and to inform you, and just stop by, have a little fun. Oh boy, Tabletop Takeout, Dungeons & Dragons Cooperative Adventure System. Again, our buddy Stephen Gilbert, 8166. I really do adore the D&D adventure board game system. Sure, it's got issues, and sure, it has some annoying little quirks, but the system is so customizable, so interchangeable with others in the series, and so easy to homebrew. This makes it incredibly easy to take contests, content, and make the game experience your own. Once you buy this game, it's yours. There's absolutely nothing forcing you to play the game strictly the way the rules tell you to. I often play the game straight out of the box, but more often than that, not all of the components for a version of the actual D&D RPG to conduct the tabletop itself. I, too, will sometimes use my pre-painted WotC Dungeons & Dragons minis instead of the board game ones. I do that, too. Either way, I take it out, and all the academic cards we found annoying over the years. Academic cards. What, you mean the character cards with the class abilities on them? Academic cards. I guess that's what you mean. Of course, the miniatures are to die for, as many characters actually do. So, and I don't know. Every time I look up, I lose my damn place. Making new character stat cards is dead easy to do so there's never any boredom on that front. I do confess that I really like the Saltmarsh expansion, though I think I'm not the only one that does. I can't speak for anyone else, Steven, but I myself was let down by it. Nothing new, having to pull out content from other boxes. Yes, I get the compatibility. I get the fact that each game is meant to be able to build upon the other, take from the other, add, join them together. I get that. But I still felt ripped off. I did. I felt like, especially because there was no classes in it, that pissed me off more than anything else. It really did. It burned me a bit. The party, this is part due to the fact that I don't have any other Sohesian in my collection. Okay, I can understand that. A good way to get some of those aquatic Sohesians. Get them in your in your collection. You got over 20,000 minis. My God, how can you have over 20,000 minis and not have any goddamn solutions? That's an impressive collection, my friend. Very impressive collection indeed. Plus the fact that, to my dismay, the only box that I don't have is the Temple of Elemental Evil. So the cards that come in the Salt Mash box make it easy for me to proxy my own cultists and simply use that cards that come in the box. Okay, that makes a lot of sense if you don't have that. But yeah, go out and get it. Might as well. They're not coming out with anything else new, apparently. Ultimately, I agree with you, Johnny. You shouldn't listen to anyone on YouTube who tells you this game is lame or some such negative vibe. Give it a go. It really can be a little bit special, but only if you are prepared to put some time, effort, and gumption into making it work for you. That's a great way of putting it. That is a very great way of putting it, Stephen. You nailed it. You nailed it with that comment. I really couldn't say anything better than that, other than the fact that I like that you agree with me. There's another one also from Stephen. Also, it was two, it looks like. Two. The two-gun vlog, day 4, scheduling and a tour. The earlier, this is the quote, this is him quoting me, I said in that video, the earlier you get up, the more time you have to get shit done. And Stephen Gilbert says, that's exactly like me too. Hillary, I suppose this is his spouse, Hillary is still imprisoned in a bundle of blankets while lying face up in the bed, open mouth catching flies, while I bring her first cup of coffee around 10 to 7 a.m. each morning, just before I get the hounds up and spend some time with the two of them. But then I've already enjoyed a couple of hours working out something for my hobby, and I know Hills won't properly surface for another hour after she has her coffee, which means I get a lot done before the rest of the world even wakes up. And I love it. I'm an early riser, always was, and you'll often find me right in the middle of the night too. For some reason, I've never needed more than about 4 or 5 hours sleep since I was a kid. Stephen, you and me are practically the same freaking person here. This is like the movie Twins. Obviously, I'm looking in a mirror. Yeah, we had a little back and forth. We had a little bit of a back and forth on the comment section because of that comment, and it was a lot of fun. Yes, we both have dogs. Me and him are both married to a spouse that is a slave to the Java, that needs that coffee in the morning to get going. Early risers with dogs that have our hobby stuff to do. Yeah, I get you. I feel you 100%. I'm with you on that. More than I thought. Look at that. Anthony Riviera, 3616, one of our on-again, off-again 27 warriors here for the two-gun vlogs. That's 3. At least 3 I got. Oh, cool. Two-gun vlog, day 3, chasing the dream and improving the vlog. He gave a nerdy smiley face to my comment of the game room is the nerd wasteland. Thank you very much for that, Anthony, and thank you for supporting and following my quest and my goal. We missed you last week at the gaming table. I hope we get to see you in 2 weeks. Tabletop takeout again from Anthony Rivera for the Dungeons and Dragons Adventure Cooperative Adventure. Ooh. Getting too fast there. Tabletop takeout, Dungeons and Dragons Cooperative Adventure System, Anthony Rivera, 3616. This really is a great system that some would say is D&D 4th edition, super simplified. In addition, it is also compatible with the 5th edition, with 5 dungeon command sets that were released. I do hope this isn't the end of the series, though. I would have liked an Expedition to the Barrier Peak set. Which set would you like to see? If you have the time, I'd like to hear your thoughts and comparative video versus Hero Quest. I like them both for different reasons, not to mention there's so much fan-made stuff for both of them out there. Me and Anthony have had a little bit of a back and forth on this comment as well so far. And which set would I like to see? Well, Expedition to Barrier Peaks would be fantastic, adding in a bit of that sci-fi, which would probably just blow everyone's mind for this system. Imagine your favorite fighter or wizard from that or any of the other box games getting their hands on a black laser pistol or a suit of powered armor for your barbarian. It's not magic. But I would also, I would really like to see White Plume Mountain. That would have been a great system to do as a box. I don't know how they could have done visually. Maybe they wouldn't have had to have done it because they couldn't have. But the different level where you got to go from those hanging planks over the ceiling that are above the lava, and you got to go down to get to that other level where the lava's. Oh, I don't know how you do that in a board game. But that was one of my favorite modules. White Plume Mountain, fantastic. Midday Monologue. Why Dungeons and Dragons? Stephen Gilbert again. Happy birthday, my friend. 56. Yeesh. You make me feel old. I was born in 62. Well, you got 7 years on me. Prepare the road as I'm coming down it, my friend. Hey, does that mean I can call you Big Johnny D the boy? Big Johnny G the boy? Winks. Yeah, Star Wars 77. Oh boy. I can still remember the mile-long queues slowly edging around the cinema itself. The anticipation, patiently waiting for hours for it to be our turn. Watching people come out, having just seen the film, the look of vacant otherworldliness etched on their faces. Like the scene at the end of Close Encounters, where the abducted people walk down the ramp, that they get off the alien ship disoriented and somehow forever changed. But it started for me back in 74, when I was first introduced to D&D by an older set of friends who were very patient and just didn't kick me out, but took time to let me mature into the game with age. What did it for me was the Middle-earth books, especially the old Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings cartoon from 78. And then, of course, 1980, Hawk the Slayer movie. That was the moment I wanted to become a DM, and I've never looked back since. That's a wonderful story, Stephen. I love it. I absolutely love that story, man. That is beautiful. That is wonderful. One wonderful story. The Middle-earth books. So right after I was introduced to D&D, that next year, well, during the next school year, my DM, this is just before he became a dick and abandoned us to go get another group of people he liked better. In all honesty, him and his brother were kind of enemies of mine. D&D was the only thing that we kind of did together. That's a long story. But yeah, anyway, the guy, what was I saying? Lost track. About the old DM, about the game, being introduced to it. Oh, yes. So he came up to me at lunchtime one day. We were in front of the school, the front yard of the school, playing around, hanging out. He comes up to me, he goes, "John, did you read The Hobbit?" Now I feel like I told this story in that video, but not everyone watching this video has seen that video. Have you read the book The Hobbit? I'm like, no, what's a hobbit? They said, oh, it's like a halfling. So who the hell would want to write a book about a halfling? I mean, that's exactly like what I said. Who the hell would want to write a book about a halfling? So now you got to remember, this was the 70s. This was the mid to late 70s at this time. New York City. Let me tell you something. If you did not grow up in New York City in the 70s, you might not understand this. We made our own rules. We did whatever the fuck we wanted. We knew when we would get in trouble. And we knew when we wouldn't. And we knew when we could deal with getting in trouble. At least hoped we knew when we could. So there were a lot of things we did in school that we weren't supposed to do. There's a bunch of rocks across the street, a little rock park we used to call it. Some kid when I was in 3rd or 4th grade fell down, busted his head open on it, and ever since then, not allowed to play on the rocks, kids. Yeah, we still played on the rocks. We're going to have rock monitors out there to watch you. Hey, we don't give a shit about rock monitors. Not allowed to leave the school grounds at lunchtime. I would take a 10-minute walk home, make my own sandwich, and then come back. After I sat down, I watched a great space coaster for a while and walked my golden retriever. So Sean tells me about this book. I never heard of The Hobbit. So he goes, wait here. He runs away from school, for lack of a better phrase, down one block down, one block over, and then half a block another down to the Hallmark card store. And he got me the remember the Hobbit copy was think it was like Gold. Well, I'm thinking of the first book in the trilogy. Anyway, so he got me the Hobbit book. He bought it for me. We just kids. Who was money? He just bought me this one. Man, you know what? He probably stole it. Now that I think back at it, he's the kind of kid he probably would have stolen. He probably just grabbed it and ran. But he said, "Here, John, you got to read this book." Now, let me tell you this. Before that, no. So this is. So I started playing when I was 7. So this is like when I was 8 years old. And at that time, my parents had really tried to get me into reading more than just the Sunday funnies, the comic strips and the Sunday newspaper. They got me. I remember the big thing was they were trying to get me to read with Hardy Boy books. No offense to anyone out there as a fan of Hardy Boys, but as a kid, that seemed like the most boring thing in the goddamn world. I could not get through a chapter. Not that I couldn't read it. I couldn't find the want to get through it. So then my DM hands me the Hobbit. As far as a first book that you ever read goes, it took me a while because I was taking my time reading it. I was soaking everything in. Next thing I know, a week had passed and the book was done. And then I found out there was more because they're listed in the page of the book. And I was hooked. But I was already playing D&D. What I was interested in before D&D was King Arthur. The King Arthur stuff, I think mainly because I was a very, very small child. I saw the Disney film, The Sword and the Stone. That really turned me on to King Arthur and the Knights of the King Arthur and the Knights and Merlin, Morgan and Modred. And it turned me on to all that. And I was fascinated. I was fascinated by the myth and the magic and the magistry of King Arthur. So that's really, I think, where my fantasy stuff really started. That, and you know what? I remember there was an anime cartoon, like when I was in that same age category, when I was about 5, 6 years old, 7 years old, there was an anime cartoon. I couldn't find it here in New York. It was on a local Jersey station. Whenever my family would go to Seaside Heights to Jersey Shore for vacation, I would find it on their channels. And it was called Hercules. It was this anime about Hercules and his buddy, a satyr. And he had an H ring that gave him his Hercules strength and power. Hercules, hero of song and story, Hercules. Something like that the song went. Wow, 50 years that song was stuck in my fucking head. So those are the things that really got me into fantasy before Dungeons and Dragons was even introduced to me. You know, I don't really drink anymore. I would sit down and have a drink with you, Stephen. We'd have a good time talking. We'd be, you know, funny thing is, I have a feeling you and me would be reminiscing about things that we were never together for. Thank you so much for being a buddy of the channel, Gilbert. Stephen Gilbert. Stephen Gilbert, everyone. The one and only, incomparable. Two Gun Vlog. Here's another one. Day one, the big announcement. Anthony Rivera again, 3616. Cool video. I wish you all the best. That was very cool of him. So there's a few more than I thought. You know, I look at the comments more than I look at what the comment is for. All right. Slideshow Gaming of the Death Lords of Vecna. This was a 3-part, or is it 4-part one-off that I wrote this adventure for the gang in between our regular D&D campaign. Wanted to give them a chance to play some evil characters, blow off some steam. So I made them all lieutenants of Vecna. They're out hunting down a goblin war band that had screwed over Vecna on the battlefield, and he was sending the boys to go get some revenge. It was a good few games. Slithar, we've seen you around here before. How you been, Slithar? Welcome back to the channel. Beautiful table. I kind of like the straw-like base with the grid on it. I love the maps too. So many. So the map that I put down was a toxic lake. I can't remember if that was from Battlefields or Warlock. I think that was Warlock. I think that was Warlock Tiles, WizKids. Their Acid Lake was the base down for that particular battle that you were looking at here. And then almost all the pieces were from WizKids Warlock Tiles series, or I got it right there. What's it called? The 4D series. 4D series of stuff, WizKids. If you're looking for some good tabletop terrain, that's not cardboard. You want to advance up from cardboard, maybe? Take a look. Take a look at the Warlock stuff. And they're not paying me or sponsoring me to say any of this shit. I just really like the product. Woo! Dina, the two-gun pixie princess and the nerd way sandwiches. Oh, we got a comment here for, oh, thank you very much. Yuli Dubravk. I always say your name wrong. Yuli Dubavki. Thank you, 3080. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. One of these days I'll get stopped in the face hard enough that I'll be able to say names like that. A lot more easier. But you've been following the channel for a long time, regardless of my ugly American mouth. So thank you so much for wishing me a happy Wednesday. That was very, very awesome of you to do that. So that was very cool. Tales from the Table. And this is ending it all because now we're getting into April. Tales from the Table. 4 Against Darkness, Poison Goblins, and Emerald Eyes. Nice video. Thanks for sharing. That's what Michael Kleppinger, 4025, had to say. Thank you, Michael Kleppinger. I believe I've seen that here in the comment section before. I think so. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry and welcome. But yes, if I'm correct, thank you very much for coming back, for watching more of our videos and taking your time to leave a comment. That's very cool. Very cool indeed. So those are the comments that we've had so far. Let me reach over and see. Was there anything here that I missed? Nothing. No comments live while I missed. So that's good. Don't feel like I've left anyone hanging. That's nice. How's the mic is working out pretty good. I got this Mini Mic Pro Dual Pros. Got this off of Amazon. I can't remember how much. $20 maybe. Trying to test this out for the last few videos. No one that has been watching that I see has made a comment. Hey, I can't hear you. So it's still working good. Still working good again. Pin it on me, or I can put it down somewhere, which is what it is right now. I've got it clipped on right here. So it's nice and high and near my voice anyway, and aimed towards me. Let's see. This has been very busy. If you are new to the channel, or if you've missed it somehow, I've been doing daily vlogs chronicling my attempt to get a world record. This isn't something that I really planned at all. This is something I realized. A lot of times, I guess most of the time, people will go through world records and say, oh, I can beat that. Let me try beating that. I can beat that. Let me try beating that. This had nothing to do with that whatsoever. So the way this quest for a world record developed was I realized how far ahead on the videos I am. Now, I realize I'm not the only YouTuber who makes pre-advanced videos, dated and scheduled for a release date. I know I'm not. But a couple of months ago, I think about 3 actually, I realized that I was almost a full year ahead of schedule. Now, I say that. I dropped, not counting the daily vlog, chronicling the Guinness quest. Not counting that, obviously. I drop 1 video minimum a day. I have a regular schedule, Monday through Sunday, and Friday and Sunday are live, and the rest of the days of the week are pre-recorded and uploaded. And as far as those pre-recorded uploads go, this week, by the end of this week, I will be a full year ahead of schedule. That is unheard of. So I did some online searches, and I realized that there is no record in the Guinness book for and I got to find the right words for this, for the largest pre-recorded, uploaded video release. I don't know what to call it. Because there are people that have more videos than me, obviously, but nobody has more videos pre-set up, pre-dated, pre-edited, just waiting for their release date. That goes a full year. Now, this process, once I fill out this, okay, at the end of this weekend, I'm going to be at that mark. And then I got to fill out the paperwork. I could fill it out now because it takes a minimum, they said, about 12 weeks. So I average about 12 weeks to hear back from them. So I can fill it out now and be good. But I want to have all my ducks in a row. I want to make sure all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. I want there to be a mistake. I have a notebook that I use as a date book, so I know every single date in advance up until December 27. I only have full weeks up until June 26th, but I do have some videos, like my unboxing videos, the Tales from the Table videos. I got a bunch of them that are at or just getting to the December 26th, January 27 mark. But yeah, nobody else has done this. Nobody. And the reason I started doing this was, besides the fact that it's, if you want to do a regular schedule, it's nice to have a few buffer videos. That's a gimme, right? I mean, everyone should know that. But I'll tell you what happened. So a couple of years ago, I was working a security job, and the place did not allow, other than a mustache, they didn't allow facial hair. And I always, in my adult life, I've always really kept a goatee. There was a time I had the inverted goatee, just the long chops, and this is all shaved down here, like Lemmy Kilminster from Motorhead. But no, generally I keep a Van Dyke, because the mustache is connected. So I keep this Van Dyke, and I couldn't for the job. Everyone else that worked at that school, whether they were teachers, whether they were staff, whether they were cleaners, whether they were anyone that had a paycheck from that place was allowed to have whatever facial hair they wanted, except us security guards. Now, wintertime, I worked outside. So wintertime, I was allowed to have my face all covered up from the elements. So during the wintertime, I started filming in advance. I started filming a bunch of videos with my beard. And I did that for several years. And the last year, one of the other workers called me out to the boss on it. It only takes one to ruin something. And the boss told me that I wasn't allowed to do that anymore. So at that point, I said to myself, well, if I rush, I bet I can get 6 months ahead of schedule on my Mondays and Tuesdays, and the intros for my unboxing videos on Wednesdays, because those are the only days this is on camera. The rest of the videos, it's just voice. My face isn't on it. So I knew I could crunch out 6 months within the next several weeks. So I really pushed and tried. So then I would have 6 months still. And of course, what happened was, after I started doing all that, and I was about 3 months ahead of schedule, and he called me into his office and he said, "Why do you still have the beard on your videos?" I didn't have it in person at the time, so who gives a flying fuck what's in my goddamn videos, you son of a bitch? Here's what I thought in my head. Hey, I needed a job. So I told him, I said, well, I filmed some in advance. He said, well, the other guards are still complaining that you can be seen with your beard. I don't care, is what I should have said to him. All I said was, I don't know what to tell you. These are filmed in advance. I'm not allowed to have a beard while I'm working. I do not have a beard right now. I cannot tell you how red in the face Argenzio got when I told him that. I mean, the little guy was about to explode like Vesuvius. I'm sorry. This is a fact of life. I am shaved, but I have videos for the next several months where I am not shaved. If you don't like that, don't watch my fucking videos. And that's what I said to myself. From now on, I'm going to make sure that my videos are at least a year in advance. So if I ever get another job where they tell me I can't have a fucking beard, I don't give a shit if they watch my videos and they get upset that you can see it in the videos. Not my monkeys, not my circus. You got to deal with that, since I did it on my fucking time. But then a lot of things happened. I couldn't get ahead of schedule as much as I wanted. Good and bad. A good thing was I found my family. I'm an adoptee, and it was around that time I also found my biologics. And we had generally speaking, in most cases, we had a very great reunion. So that ate into my video time, but it was well worth it. And then it was just like one life crisis after another, or getting sick, or there was always something going on that I could never get more than 3 or 4 months ahead of schedule. And then something would happen and I wouldn't be able to film for like 2-3 weeks, and the schedule would slide back down, and it was just getting crazy. But I kept at it. What else am I going to do? I'm a house husband who, besides the cleaning and taking care of the dogs, needed a hobby. Right? So, yeah, a few months back, I looked at my schedule and I said, holy shit, I'm almost a full year ahead. Ultimately, my plan would be because I'm so, OCO about this OCD about this. I mean, the old days we used to just, having an anal attitude about something. But I foresee my schedule being permanently 13 months, 1 week, and 1 day schedule. I know it's very, very OCD, I know. But now that I'm doing this, that's not what I'm thinking. Now that I'm doing this Guinness run and stuff, I'm thinking, well, as long as I get a minimum of 2 videos done during a week, during a 5-day week, then that's all I need to stay on schedule. And if I get one more video done than that, then I'm just getting better and better and better and better. But I mean, there's a point where it's too big. I mean, there's a point where that plate I'm spinning, as far as the ahead of schedule goes, is getting bigger and bigger and bigger until it's going to be unruly. I mean, how far ahead of schedule does one want to be, or can one get? I'm going to find out. Because once I establish this title, I plan on keeping it. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But that's what I've been doing. That's almost all my extra time has been going into that. So I'm having a lot of fun at this. So if you've watched a video this long in and you don't subscribe to my channel, please subscribe. Support my quest to get into the Guinness Book of World Records. This is going to be amazing. So that's it. One last check over here. I wish there was an easier way for me to do this. Nothing else covered up. So it looks like, my friends, we are done. See, there's a couple here, a few thumb ups. Thank you so much for checking this out, for staying with me. You're the best. You really are. I love this. This is a lot of fun, and you're half the reason why I do it. I mean, I'm half, and you're the other half the reason why I do it. So, everyone, hope you all have a great day and a greater tomorrow. I'm your buddy Big Johnny G, and I am reaching for the off button.